Let's talk about my truth. Hey guys, it's John here in the studio with a fabulous mug of coffee. P.A.S. Domine. I wanted to hop on and talk about my truth. You've probably heard me say it a million times in this channel. I am only speaking my truth. My truth is what I have come to understand over many decades now. We're looking at, I started having my first big spiritual experiences consciously in 1992, but from my childhood, I was having out-of-body experiences and imaginary friends, which I believe were, speaking to the oneness even back then. And when 1992, I had my first big experience, and I'll talk about that in a different video, but that big experience showed me that everything is love. 1992. After that big experience, I started searching for what I believed in earnest. I had already been exploring things because my mom at 18 told me that spirituality was a personal journey, but 1992, which was 10 years later, is when I had the first big experience. As I started diving into my big experience, the one key element that came back was that everything is love. And everything else other than love is just a mask or a veil that hides love from us. Now, we hear about the veil all the time. People talk about overcoming the veil, and the Sufis say that God's on one side of a veil and we're on the other side of the veil, and our life is a struggle against the veil, and the veil is our fear. The Buddha says the secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear. So when I think of that veil, that going back to that Sufi quote, God's on one side of it. I think love is on one side of a veil, and the veil is our fear, right? But the key word is it's our fear. Fear is a choice. And so for me, when I come back to this idea of what is my truth is our very nature is love. Who we are is naturally love. And our fear is this veil we pull over our eyes to not see or experience love in some way. And when I finally did have my past life regression, and in my past life regression, I had what most people would call a near-death experience. I don't call them near-death experience. I've crossed over 3 times. I don't call them near-death experiences because I didn't have the traumatic event that is usually associated with a near-death experience. I just actively crossed. And so I can't call them a near-death experience. But when I look at the idea of even a near-death experience, it's a near, N-E-A-R, near-death experience. It's not fully understanding what death or the other side is. It's having a near-death experience. You're kind of whisking down to the thinner veil. And when I look at the life of the life that I'm living, when I look at the life that I'm living, I come down to the very simple truth. My first regression, I came out of it with a couple things. One of the things was that we come to the physical to experience our fears and our anxieties and our feelings of separation. Why will we do that? So that we can come to experience love more fully. You could never know or experience love without feeling its absence, because that's how even in science, that's how we measure against the baseline. We need to feel its absence to understand it or experience it. And so we come into the physical to really learn the many facets of love: giving, taking, not having, and all, hateful things, harmful things, things that are totally unloving. We experience these things in life, but even in the Bible it says you must bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. In other words, bring love here. Bring that love here and be in this love here. Change your life experience. In Hinduism, they talk about going through your life and coming back and not having to learn any more lessons, right? But if you think about it from the perspective of, You're coming here until you're coming back to a full of beautiful awareness of pure love. And so for me, my simple truth is, first of all, it's simple. Our very nature is loving. And when you start thinking that our very nature is loving, you start treating people differently. You look at people and you smile at them. You hold the door for them. You know that person's struggling through life. Many times they are just holding on to their own experience for their safety. I had a child, a kid, in a program that I was working on up in Cleveland, and he was an inner city kid who he came in and he was defensive and he was tough and he was always getting in people's faces. And one day I asked him, I said, "Can I ask you a question?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Where you live, if you're not tough, are you a victim?" And he started to cry. He said, "Yeah." That kid inside of him was love. The reason he was tough and that was because he was trying to protect himself. It was power, right? I said to him, I said, "You know what? You don't have to do that here. You're accepted for who you are here, and all you have to do is just play and have fun with what we're teaching. We're going to put together a show, and you're going to be a part of that show, and just do your best. Do your best, and just have fun here. Exhale. This is your place where you're safe." And he had a great season. He ended up becoming an actor. But it came down to every person you meet has love inside them because it's their very nature. Even the ones who are harmful, serial killers, the only reason they are the way they are is because they don't feel the love inside of themselves. And so they're trying to grab power because that adrenaline rush of power is what they're mistaking it for love. So they do terrible stuff because that's the only thing that makes them feel better, right? So I look at them all from the perspective of inside of that person is love, no matter what terrible, horrible, rotten thing they've done, damaging thing they've done. And the person that they've done it to has just had an experience where love was denied in a very big way, but that person is going to understand more fully love when they experience crossing back over. Because we are truly in the valley of the shadow of death. The shadow of death, the illusion of death. The physical world is an illusion. It's made of the atoms that are just the substance of everything. And what are atoms, according to Einstein? Just an energy event in motion. Everything you're looking at, the wall, the air between you and the wall, your eyes, all made of atoms. Everything is just an illusion and energy. And what does the Bible say? We are created in God's image. This is the image, the one that you're living. And what's interesting is that what was promised to us was that whatever we believe is shown to us in that image. In the beginning is the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Your words, thoughts, beliefs go out to the God, and God shows you that belief in the image around you. In the beginning is the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. We are created in God's image. So when I look at this world, I think that this world is a reflection of my belief in some form. And because we live in a collective consciousness, in Hinduism they say the consciousness of God is the Sit, and we're the Sit Sat Ki, the individual sparks of consciousness within God. I know that we're in a collective consciousness, and the world looks the way it does because we're all creating at any given time. But I understand that within this construct, I get to ask, believe, and receive. And so because that's what was said, whatever you ask in God's name is granted if you have faith. When you pray, believe you shall receive, and you shall. You can ask a mountain to move, and it will move. Nothing's impossible for you. Ye are God's. It doesn't say, whatever you ask in God's name is granted if you have faith, and I want it for you. And I'm going to, if you're a good girl or boy, it doesn't say that. It says, whatever you ask in God's name is granted if you have faith. That's what it says. And you can't deny that that is an empowering statement. That's a statement of beautiful empowerment. Whatever you ask is granted if you have faith, if you believe it. Because the word faith does not mean faith in Jesus, which is what Christians have made that word to mean now. That word means belief. I believe it. I know it to be true. And when you come to the space of realizing that you know it to be true, then you create it into your life. So what is my truth? My truth is everything is love. Everyone is loving. and I can be and deliver love in a beautiful way. And in that process of all that, I am creating my experience in this illusion around me. And I understand that I can have a beautiful world and a beautiful life, and I am living the beautiful world and a beautiful life. Everything outside of that, and I'm one with God. I am one with God. But everything outside of that, that's the rituals, the dogmas, the ceremonies, the things that you have to live into, be it old age or new age, doesn't matter to me. It's simple. One of the foundational things from my regression that came through was it's so simple we have a hard time comprehending it. And once you start adding ritual, ceremony, dogma, hierarchies, all that, that's the mind of man in my mind. I think it's all far simpler. We come back to our space. We come back to our experience of loving. And you might have seen me just pause just then. I have a session later today, and I just got a hit for that person. So I wanted to, it kind of hit me. So, but I want you to realize that you are the pinpoint of creation of your life. And it's been what was promised from the dawn of time is that you get to create your experience. What you think you become, you create your world. You are the culmination of your thought. Change your thought, change your mind. Change your outcome. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See you.